Hi everybody, today we have a very special guest, Ross Anderson, who's joining us today. Now Ross is the director of Six Nations Wine Challenge, as well as a very exciting new wine adventure that Ross is on, bringing South African wines to the Australian market. But I'm fascinated, Ross, around what you're doing in the Six Nations Wine Challenge. Perhaps tell me a little bit more about what those Six Nations are, some New World wines, and really what's happening in the New World wine industry. What are your thoughts? What's hot? What's not? So over to you.
Well, thanks, Maron. Thanks for the opportunity. So, the Six Nations Wine Challenge is it's the most unique wine challenge in the world, and we have the top 100 wines coming in from Canada and America, Chile, South Africa, New Zealand and Australia. So when we say top 100, these wines have gone through multiple layers of wine judging in their domestic competitions, in domestic markets, and they've proceeded through the ranks right to the very top. We work with the top 6 judges from these countries, including in Australia we have Hugh and Hook, in New Zealand we have Bob Campbell, the Master of Wine, from South Africa Michael Frujon. We've got Patrick Comiskey in the States from Los Angeles. He writes for the Los Angeles Times and Wine and Spirits magazine. In Chile we have Eduardo Breithauer, who's the leading critic in Chile, and Christopher Waters from Canada. So leading authorities within their fields, they select the top 100 wines and they send me a list of who they want to bring in, who's hot, who's not, what they think will ultimately present their country's wines best. I send out personalised invitations, so it's not open to entry. You have to be invited to come in, which is the unique thing. We cover 16 categories, all the way from sparkling, Riesling, Chardonnay, your typical known varieties, all the way through to your red blends, your lighter body reds. So it's really a great mix across 16 categories. These wines all come into Sydney, and we put through into a judging venue. We set everything up, and the judges come in from around the world, and we do 3 days of intensive blind tasting. So they don't know what they're tasting, and we're mixing everything in. So there could be a Chardonnay from Oregon, and a Canadian Chardonnay from British Columbia, and a Stellenbosch Chardonnay, or etc. And off they go. I don't tell them the results for another couple of weeks after that, and then we bring in all the trophy wines into Australia, and we put on events and market the events that way.
Fantastic. And what's hot at the moment in terms of the New World wines? What's happening in that industry?
There's been some really cool things happening recently. The Canadians have been with us for the last 2 years. Last year they missed off winning the Shiraz Trophy by 1 point. That went to a New Zealand Shiraz. This year the Canadians bought the Full Monty and they picked up the Shiraz Trophy. So beating the best Shiraz is where you would expect Australia to come through in that field. South Africa is doing really well. Bordeaux Blends is South Africa's hallmark. They're doing really well there. Dessert wines, Chenin Blanc from Stellenbosch. So there tends to be certain countries that specialise in certain things. New Zealand, Sauv Blanc generally. Pinot. America, great in the Pinots, great in the Cabernets. Same as what they did last year, they've kind of repeated it this year. Canadian ice wine is the real trick at the moment. It's beautiful wine, and what we're finding is it's a battle between Canada and South Africa for that trophy. So it's almost a 6-way game of chess. You never know what the results are going to be, and you can see the judges playing to the strengths of the countries.
Wow, really sounds fantastic, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and doing what you're doing for the Australian market. It's really terrific. So guys, hop onto Brave New Worlds, yeah?
Well, we've got two sites, sixnationswine.com.au for all things related to Six Nations, and then bravenewworld.wine, which is the import arm that is working closely with Six Nations to bring some of these wines into Australia.
Terrific. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Maron.
Cheers.